Yeah, thank you for the invitation and the possibility to talk in front of you about a very interesting topic we have right now developing in Germany. So after we heard about the expensiveness of storage technologies, which is right, if you have a PV home storage system, you're about at 20 to 30 cents per kilowatt hour from the prices that we have right now. So it's kind of expensive compared with other possibilities. However, there's a development that we see which is greatly driven by the wish to integrate renewable energies into the system. So right now, in Germany, you can see here the accumulated numbers of PV installations in our systems. It's slowing down a little bit. You can see on the greenish bars that the installed power per year is going down due to several regulations, I would say. But however, we are at 40 gigawatt of PV in our system right now. So there are days when the sun is shining and hours of the day that we have about 30 gigawatt going into the system. And our net load is about 60. So 50% of our need, of our demand is covered by PV systems. And this gives a great strain right now on our distribution grid, because most of the systems are actually installed in that area. So if you look at this, our electrical grid consists of different voltage levels, and most of the wind is normally installed in the higher voltage areas. And most of the PV systems, which we have 1.5 million standalone systems right now in our grid, and 80% of them are actually installed in the 400 volt area, so on household, so on the roofs of houses. And if you think about storage, there are different solutions, and in the previous talk we have seen some of them. So centralized storage like pumped hydro, for example, but they would normally be installed in the higher voltage areas. Then you get modular storage systems, which would be larger scale battery systems. And in the low voltage grid, you actually get modular storage which has some kind of double use. What do I mean by that? You normally have something like a PV home storage system which is installed because the homeowner wants to install it for himself, for the self-sufficiency, etc. And then you use it for a second purpose, for grid services, for example. And that's the double use. In that would play also the development in the electric vehicle area. And if you look at the numbers for 2015, we had a situation where we actually sold more PV home storage than electric cars. And that's in Germany, where we have a lot of people who are very interested into automotives. But we also have a lot of engineers who like to install stuff, who like to have stuff, and that's what's happening right now. So they want to get the new technologies into their homes, make themselves not as restricted to the energy supplier, to the large energy supplier. They want to have their own electricity. That's what's happening right now. And of course you have to remember that in an electric vehicle you will have a battery that is 3 times larger than what you would normally install in your home. Then the general size of the home storage system is about 6 kilowatt hours. And for the battery in the electric vehicle, you're more in the 20 kilowatt hours area, except if you have a Tesla. So why do they install batteries, or what do we think that batteries could do in the distribution grid at the end? So basically they want to increase their self-consumption. As I said, they want to use their own electricity as much as possible. And this is normally then to use it at night. if you're not producing and you are back at home and want to use the electricity. For example, to also charge your electric vehicle at the end. And the other thing is, if you do it smart enough, you can actually install regulations so that the grid itself is relieved. Because if you only look at the self-consumption part, the battery will be charged as soon as possible. So as soon as the sun is rising, you're going to charge your battery. And then it's full as soon as you get to the noon peak, and the grid is not relieved at all. So if you do a right consideration and a regulation for these storage systems, what we did in Germany, then you can cut off that peak from the noon, because you force the battery to charge later and have enough capacity to cover that. What I'm going to talk about is the market development, what we have as a federal funding right now in place, and the prices and the technologies that are evolving on that market. And I also brought with me some measurements from the field, because we installed high-resolution measurements in 20 PV home storage systems, and we have measurements from that that can show how the distribution grid can be relieved. So in 2016, in 2013 we started this funding scheme, but in 2016 we got the second phase. So they decided to prolong this funding, which is basically giving someone who wants to install a battery, under several conditions that I'm going to talk about later, to get a fund, a grant, and also a reduction on the price that you have for your battery, which is linked to the power peak of your PV. It's very complex. But at the end, you get money for installing your battery. If you do so, and this is also important, it's on hold right now because it took up so fast that the funding went out for this year. And there are elections next year, so you stop it before it went to zero in a very important phase. If you get that money, you have to fulfill several requirements. First, you have to cut down your power output of your PV by 50%. So at no time you are allowed to go over that. Meaning, if you have a 10 kilowatt PV, you only put 5 kilowatt peak into the grid, resulting into a situation where in the same grid, under no extensions, you can install twice as much PV. And this we basically did because our grid extension, which would be cheaper and which would be good, is not taking up that fast. So we have that, and on the other hand, the battery manufacturer needs to prove that his battery will work for 10 years in that application. This is done by standardized tests, so they prove that the system will be in place for 10 years. And your PV system must be smaller than 30 kilowatt peak. There are several other fundings which are done on the local level, but this is the broad federal funding. And we are monitoring this development. And if you want to look into the results and into the measurements that we did in more detail than I can give it here in the speech, you can go to speichermonitoring.de. There you will find also our annual reports, unfortunately only in German right now. So there you will find something on the manufacturers, on the design measured, on the self-consumption and the autarky for the systems that we measured. I brought some important figures with me from that report. So what you see here is the take-up of PV home storage systems since that scheme was introduced in 2013. And you see a little peak here at the end of that year, because that was the end of the first phase. And everybody wanted to get in before the funding went out. And then they decided to prolong it, and it took up again. We are at about 40,000 systems right now. Why do we say that? So the dark blue is the number of the registered systems that are already in our system that we have the data of. The other ones here, the second part is those who have applied to get the fund. And the third one is those people who don't want the fund at all. Because it's too complex, too much bureaucracy, they don't want to do it. And we think that we can receive 45% of the market right now. So that's how that is calculated. And we have about 40,000 systems, which means that already we have about 120 megawatt in the system. This is about 20% of our primary frequency control market, of the German one. Yeah. The prices of these systems are going down tremendously, especially for lithium-ion batteries. So what you see here is the real retail price, including the tax and including the installation. So what the consumer sees at the end to build this system in his household. You can see for lead acid that we got down by from the 1,500 down to 1,300 euros per kilowatt hour. And this is usable capacity, it's not on the whole capacity that is installed. And the reduction is 4 times higher for the lithium-ion batteries. This is especially due to the cell prices that went down in that way. So the important part here is that we are in a situation where the prices of lead acid are almost similar to the cheap and the medium prices of the lithium-ion batteries. What would you install? These are the nice people who say no, but I'm doing a PhD on that. Yeah?
What's a lifetime?
What's the lifetime? Normally, the lifetime of a lead acid battery is about 50 to 60% of that of a lithium-ion battery. So, the decision is clear, right? Lithium-ion batteries. And that's what we see in the market. So it started off that lead had about a share of 70% in the quarterly sales. But within 2.5 years, it went down to 10%. It's stabilizing there, but a lot of the manufacturers are not selling that anymore. So all of them have a lithium-ion system right now. Some have lead acid still in the portfolio, but not very often it's sold. So we looked at the market and saw who are the manufacturers in the whole complex that sell the most. And we saw these 4, which is Sonnen, Zenek, SMA, and E3DC. They sell their system most of the time in the German market. So we decided to take these 4 and install the intensive monitoring in the households who have these systems. There are other products, and they're entering the market frequently. So you can see this one everybody will know. So Tesla is going into the home market, is introducing that very eloquently. On the other hand, there is the German systems were installed much more often, Tesla is now entering the market. We had systems who are doing the same thing and better. However, he has a very nice design, and if you compare it to the one that Mercedes made, I mean, okay, I would prefer the Tesla. And that's something very important, because the design is very important, as the motivation is installation to show it to my neighbor. On the other hand, we thought, okay, you have to have some considerations on these systems. So what is the real self-consumption that you can get with these systems? What are the efficiency in the field? So what do you really get out of the system? And what is really the load profile of a household? And that's why we installed a measurement system that does cover all of that. It's high precision, so we take up every second a value on all of these measurement points. So we measure the three-phase current, we measure the voltages, we measure the PV battery system, we measure what comes from the PV system to the inverter, from the inverter to the battery, and back. We measure the battery temperature, which is also important for the lifetime of the battery. And we also measure irradiation, the power frequency, the frequency changes, so we can make assumptions on how much they can deliver to a frequency control market. Then we went into these households, installed all of it. We developed a measurement system that can be installed within a day and installed all of the sensors. And this is basically how it looks. So you have the inverter, you have the battery of Zenec here in that case, and our measurement system. Beside that, we also decided to have a test bench in our laboratory so that we can measure under given situations, under standardized profiles, the efficiencies of all of the systems, to benchmark them and to see how they perform. And we measured, like I said, the 4 major systems that were sold in our market. And what you can see here is one of these measurements. And you will see the efficiency is going down dramatically in the areas where you have low power. And in real life, this means during the night. So actually the efficiencies that are claimed are, of course, they can be reached in that area where you have high power rates. But in the real life profile, you get efficiency way below that. So that's a huge problem and things that have to be addressed in the next step. Because then we come down from 93 possible efficiency percents to 60% in the field. So what you can see here is what we measured on one system, which was funded in the first phase, so it only has to reduce to 60% on power output. And you can see the graph showing the power that is coming from the PV in this lighter blue, and in the dark blue is really exchanged to the grid. So basically it's saying exchange without storage, and this would be the exchange with storage. And this is all already an intelligent battery system because it's not charging directly at the beginning, but charging during the later phase of the day, which is also good for the lifetime of the battery. With that system, you can actually increase your own consumption from a 28%, which would only be with the PV system, up to 55%. At the same time, you reduce the feed-in to the grid, and you reduce your demand from the grid. So you can actually relieve the system. Something that we're looking at, and this is was also mentioned, to do a virtual power plant of several battery systems. So we looked at in which phases does the battery really have the most energy, when is it fully charged, when do we have availability, and then cover it with the demand so that the household still gets to a high self-consumption rate, but we can add additional services to that system and gain money from that. This is actually already done by a company here in Switzerland, which is the BKH, when I remember it, so the Berner Kraftwerke AG. They bundle them because they have a low power rating and you have to have a high power rating for frequency control. So for example, if you want to be in the frequency control reserve market, in Germany you have to have 1 megawatt of a system. And not typically the household is at 2, 3, 5 kilowatt. So you have to couple a lot of them to be in a virtual power plant. And this must be cheap as well. The potential here can be increased with other demand-side management, like heat storage systems. So if you couple them with storage systems for your PV, heat storage, you have a demand-side management, and then can add additional services to the grid. So in total, the main takeaways from this session is we have a growing market. The PV installations are also still happening on the household level, and most of the time they are combined with heat storage systems. So 50% already have energy storage systems. So we have 50% of the installed PV are already combined with energy storage batteries. The quality can be increased, but you should have some kind of scientific monitoring or some regulations that provide standards for the efficiency, for the battery lifetime, for the operation. This is what we have done to increase the quality. If they are managed correctly, they can relieve the grid. And in the future, you will have an application in the multi-use area. So you will have a combination of self-consumption increase, for example, and then special grid services like frequency control, which is the well-paid segment right now. Okay, so thank you very much for your attention, and I'm happy to answer questions.